What's up, guys? Welcome back to Book Demystified. Most people believe financial success requires complex strategies, constant portfolio monitoring, and expertise in investment jargon. But what if everything you've been told about money is making it harder than it needs to be? Peter Lazaroff wrote Making Money Simple to challenge the industry narrative and show you that the path to wealth isn't about working harder or being smarter than everyone else. It's about building systems that make the right choices automatic and then getting out of your own way. Peter Lazaroff is the Chief Investment Officer at Plan Corp, a wealth management firm overseeing over $7 billion in client assets. He holds both CFA and CFP certifications and has built his reputation by simplifying complex investment concepts for everyday people. His work regularly appears in the Wall Street Journal and Forbes, and he brings decades of experience watching people make the same costly mistakes with their money. This book isn't theoretical advice from an ivory tower. It's practical wisdom from someone who's seen what actually works when managing billions of dollars for real families. The foundation of Lazaroff's entire philosophy comes down to one profound truth that most people miss. Time is your most powerful tool for reaching financial goals. He uses the story of Grace Groner to drive this home. Grace was a career secretary who never showed any signs of wealth during her lifetime, but when she died in 2010, she left $7 million to a foundation benefiting Lake Forest College. Her secret wasn't complicated stock picking or market timing. She bought stock early in her career, reinvested the dividends, and never sold. That's it. While everyone else was panicking during market downturns, trading in and out trying to capture the perfect moment, or chasing hot stock tips, Grace simply stayed invested and let compound growth work its magic over decades. Lazaroff points out that even Warren Buffett credits his success more to minimizing mistakes and allowing compounding to work than to brilliant stock selection. In fact, over $80 billion of Buffett's $81 billion net worth was accumulated after his 50th birthday, and $78 billion came after he qualified for Social Security. The lesson is clear. Good investing isn't about earning the highest returns in any given year. It's about doing the same smart thing for decades on end. But here's where most people fail. They get in their own way. Lazaroff explains that our brains are hardwired for survival decisions made 70,000 years ago during the cognitive revolution, not for rational investment choices. When our ancient ancestors heard a rustle in the bushes, they ran without thinking. There was no time to calculate the probability that the noise was a lion. Taking time to analyze posed too much risk, so better to run first and evaluate later. That same instinct lives in us today. When markets drop, we feel an overwhelming urge to do something, to react, to protect ourselves. When markets surge, we get excited and want to chase returns. This survival-based logic, which kept our ancestors alive, destroys investment portfolios. Lazaroff emphasizes that reacting to current market conditions, whether good or bad, leads to poor decisions. The data backs this up. The average investor dramatically underperforms the market, not because they pick bad investments, but because they buy high when emotions are running hot and sell low when fear takes over. So how do you overcome these hardwired tendencies? Lazaroff introduces what he calls the reverse budget and automation system. Traditional budgeting focuses on tracking every dollar you spend, which is exhausting and usually fails. The reverse budget flips this completely. Instead of worrying about tracking expenses, you focus on how much you need to save first and prioritize your goals. You decide your savings targets, automate those contributions, and then spend what's left guilt-free. This approach leverages a concept from economics called pre-commitment. Lazaroff uses the story of Odysseus from the Odyssey to explain this. Odysseus knew he would sail past the island of Sirens, whose song no sailor could resist, and steering toward their island meant wrecking your ship on the rocks. So Odysseus devised a plan. He had his crew fill their ears with wax and ordered them to sail past no matter what. Then he had them tie him to the mast so he could hear the siren's song without being able to steer the ship. Even though he begged to be freed the entire time, the process he committed to in advance protected him from destructive decision-making. Your financial life requires the same strategy. You face modern sirens constantly, advertisements following you around the internet, one-click purchasing, Wall Street spending billions convincing you to take action when you shouldn't, and financial media creating false urgency. By automating your savings and investments before you have a chance to spend that money, you remove the opportunity to make emotional decisions. You're tying yourself to the mast before sailing past temptation. The automation goes deeper than just savings. Lazaroff walks through dollar-cost averaging, which means contributing a set amount to your portfolio on a regular schedule over time. If you contribute to an employer retirement plan with each paycheck, you're already doing this. The beauty is that it removes the need to determine the best time to invest. When markets are high, your regular contribution buys fewer shares. When markets are low, that same contribution buys more shares. Over time, this averages out and keeps you from the dangerous game of trying to time the market. Lazaroff shares a dirty little secret the investment industry doesn't want you to know. Time in the market is far more important than timing the market. People waste enormous energy trying to buy at just the right moment, but the data overwhelmingly shows that staying invested consistently beats any timing strategy.
When it comes to actually building your portfolio, Lazaroff breaks down the relationship between risk and return in a way that finally makes sense. Investing is fundamentally about accepting volatility, uncertainty, and potential loss in exchange for higher returns over time. The key is finding the right balance by dividing your money among stocks, bonds, and cash through asset allocation. This single decision explains over 93% of the variation in portfolio returns, making it the most important choice you'll make as an investor. Stocks offer higher expected returns, but come with greater volatility. Bonds provide stability and act as a cushion when stocks fall sharply. Cash creates a safety net, but holding too much erodes your wealth through inflation. Lazaroff emphasizes that a flat 3% inflation rate will reduce your portfolio's purchasing power by nearly 59% over 30 years, which means avoiding risk entirely exposes you to the very real risk of not meeting your goals. The goal is growing your savings faster than inflation without taking undue risks. And you accomplish this through an appropriate blend of stocks and bonds aligned with both your ability and willingness to take risk. Here's where Lazaroff gets into something most investors completely misunderstand: diversification and rebalancing. Many people think they're diversified when they're actually not. Owning 10 different technology stocks isn't diversification, it's concentration. True diversification means spreading investments globally across different asset classes and sectors. But the real revelation comes when Lazaroff shows the math behind why diversification works. He presents two portfolios with identical average returns, but different volatility levels. The portfolio with lower volatility ends up with significantly more money because of how volatility impacts compound growth. When your portfolio swings wildly, the mathematics of compounding work against you. This is where rebalancing becomes crucial. Throughout market cycles, asset classes that perform well become a larger portion of your portfolio, increasing your risk exposure beyond what you intended. Rebalancing means selling what's done well and buying what's done poorly, which forces you to buy low and sell high systematically. The annually rebalanced portfolio not only ends up with more money, but it also experiences less severe losses during market downturns. If you're getting value from these summaries, hit that like button and subscribe for more book breakdowns. Now, here's what Lazaroff wants you to accept as an investor that most people refuse to acknowledge. You're going to lose money sometimes, and occasionally a lot of money, on the way to earning decent long-term returns. This is the price you pay for higher expected returns. The S&P 500 experiences double-digit losses in 65% of calendar years, and nearly a quarter of the time, losses exceed 20%. Yet, despite these frequent painful periods, the S&P 500 has averaged over 10% annual returns since 1926. Historically, the market has a 10% decline about once every 12 months, a 20% decline once every 3.5 years, and a 30% or greater decline about once a decade. Understanding this pattern is liberating because it removes the shock when downturns happen. You're not reacting to something unexpected, you're experiencing the normal cost of capturing long-term returns. Mike Tyson said, "Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." And knowing you're going to get punched allows you to prepare mentally and make better decisions after taking that hit from the market. Even better, if you're dollar-cost averaging, market downturns become opportunities because your regular contributions buy stocks at lower prices, setting you up for greater returns when markets recover. Lazaroff also tackles practical decisions that have massive financial impact. He covers cutting expenses in ways that actually matter, like buying term life insurance instead of expensive permanent insurance, increasing deductibles on auto and home insurance if you have an emergency fund to cover them, and driving cars longer. The average person owns a car for 6.5 years, which means buying 9 or 10 cars between graduating college and age 85. Simply driving each car for 8 years means buying 2 fewer cars over your lifetime, and compounding those savings over decades creates a significant wealth increase. He emphasizes that saving isn't about making sacrifices or cutting out your coffee habit. It's about aligning spending with what you truly value and eliminating expenses that bring little joy. The goal is keeping your priorities and getting more of what you really want. The book also covers maximizing tax advantages through accounts like 401ks, IRAs, Roth IRAs, and 594 plans. The less you pay in investment fees and taxes, the more returns you keep. And over decades, these differences compound dramatically. Lazaroff provides clear guidance on the best order to save for retirement across different account types to minimize your lifetime tax burden. This is engineering your financial life for maximum effectiveness, making intentional, systematic choices that direct dollars to what matters most, while eliminating the human tendencies that lead to poor decisions. The system should make it all automatic, so you can enjoy life without constant financial stress, much like Odysseus enjoyed the siren song without actually crashing his ship. This summary gives you the core concepts, but I highly recommend reading the full book to get all the depth, stories, and nuance Lazaroff provides. The frameworks and systems he outlines are battle-tested with billions of dollars under management, and seeing how everything connects will help you implement these strategies in your own life. What was your biggest insight from this book? Drop it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next summary.